on my home lake, which is Orange Lake, right outside of Gainesville, Florida. It's a fantastic lake, but this is where I grew up fishing. Orange Lake, like most Florida lakes, is just loaded with vegetation. So it's a vegetation deal. You can cast something on top of it, you can punch something into it, and sometimes you can reel something beside it, but it's pretty much you've got to have weedless, because there's just so much weeds. Flipping and pitching is like, it's heaven. It's a power fishing deal. So you love it, they bite it and you're like, oh yeah, and you just whack them. Oh my gosh, hold on, this is big, baby. Power fishing is just, it gives you a rush. You know, every now and then you might launch one into the atmosphere, but most of the time you set them and they just buried up in the stuff. You got to grind them out. It's a lot of fun. Excited today. I get to be basically home water, and man, this lake has some giant fish in it. So hopefully we'll spend a day catching some good ones. You never know, because big fish are real special. But this lake has an Orange Lake, one of the best lakes in the state of Florida. We actually have a competition between this lake and Headwaters, which is another lake that the state of Florida, FWC, developed themselves, dug it, just sculpted it and made it into a fantastic fishing lake. Catch and release. This is not catch and release, but we try to practice it on all the big fish. Great thing to have an opportunity to catch fish of a lifetime. Let's go see what we can do. All right, what do we got? So one thing you could notice is when you see those palm fronds in there from right there, that means that's a duck hunter's duck blind. That's not, that doesn't grow naturally here. They come out and set their boat up here and put decoys out and shoot them, but that does not grow here. So that's not part of natural lake. That's part of duck hunter. You want to see how thick this stuff is? This is it. So this is called smartweed, that green stuff. It's got a root system, and we would say that is the root system from Hades, because you can't break it, you can't cut it. I mean, it is just, so you get in there and get hung, you're there, and you get a fish hung in there, you're there, you got to go dig him out. In Florida, I can tell you, when you pick up the big rod, 65-pound smackdown braid. I got the new Lew's Elite TI, and this is the Elite rod that goes with it. That's perfect. It's 7.4 beast of a rod, just perfect for flipping and punching. But when you pick this up, you're putting it in the places that giants grow. I mean, they live under this stuff. And so they'll feed anything that drops through. I've actually taken a seine, a net, and go up under this stuff, and you pick it up, and you'll find little eels and crawfish, and there's shrimp, freshwater shrimp in here. And so all that stuff, they just suck it down. Major food source. When it punches through, it's just like, poof, they get it. I can just tell you that that bait right there has been, I'll probably just leave the pack out, but this bait has been a money bait for me. I mean, anywhere and everywhere from smallmouth to giant largemouth. I caught a 12.5 on that right there. So, you know, you catch giants on it, you catch little ones on it, you just catch fish. It's a tremendous bait. Rage Twin Tail Menace. And this, I'm using a 5/0 Trocar, big old TK130 hook. And that's the package. So I got into fishing. I had a buddy that he moved to my school, so I was like the only kid he knew, and he loved bass fishing. He was reading Bassmaster and he loved bass fishing. So he said, "You want to fish a tournament this weekend?" So I said, "Yeah, let's do it." Everybody in this tournament, you know, they had jumpsuits on and matching jumpsuits and smoking cigars, and they were like true professional guys in front of us. And here we are, two kids in a little boat. The guy ran down, shot the flare, everybody took off. They showered down on it. Well, they blew all the water out from underneath us. We showered down on it, fell in this hole. My tackle box floats in the air. My rods are in the air. I grab them. The box hits the deck when we hit the water. We got to the locks. I was so shook up that I tied my Texas rig on without a weight 3 times. So excited. I said, this is a sport for me. We can race and fish all in one day. There's just nothing better than this right here. So that's how I got into professional fishing. There it goes. Oh, I think he hit it on the way down. I got him. Yep. Old Menace got him another one. Yeah, so when you look at this fish, and that's a really good thing, see how dark he is? They're like black. That's because he lives up underneath this. So a fish that's out in the lake will have a much more, you know, you can see the bars and the stripes and all, where the fish that's up under the mat, the tannic acid that's given off by the vegetation stuff turns them black, i.e. black bass. That's what they're called right there. I think this is probably a good time to show you my rig here, because a lot of people do things different. So when you look at this, I've got my tungsten weight, but I did not peg it. So I don't put a bobber stop up here. So what happens is when that bass gets it, most of the time he's just getting my bait in this big old trocar in his mouth, right? So he's got this. So you bury him. In that case, you know, if you pin it here with a bobber stop or something, then he has all this. When he bites it, he has all this in his mouth, and you have to pull that weight out of his mouth. Well, you know, he might have had that weight in there and I had to pull it out of his mouth because he just happened to pick it up that way, but most of the time they just get it. So I highly recommend not pegging a weight unless you have to. Oh, here we go. Come on. Now what's cool is if you look at this one, come on, you big dog. Oh, now that's a pig. But when you look at him, you'll see a lot of lines and markings on him that he hadn't been, it's still real dark up here, so he hadn't been up under it long. He's one of those fish or she that's coming in to spawn, and so living underneath there, real healthy. I love catching these big things. You set the hook and it's like hitting a rock, man. He doesn't know he's released yet, but he will in just a second. Here you go, 3, 2. I got him. Oh, up out of the tree. Come on. Come on. I had to work on that one. Woo! I let it sit. I was looking around trying to figure out how I was going to navigate my motor guide through these trees, and he bit it and took off. Gosh, it's just so fun. So fun. He is, little guy must be. Well, not that little. That's what you call, uh-oh, he got down in the stuff. That's what you call a 1-2 punch. So, I take my mag cutter, and so this is my other Elite TI that I've got, and I put 20-pound Abrazex on it, and then I'm going fishing. So we have a cutter worm for open water, lily pads like that, just scattered stuff, holes in the grass. Really good to just throw this out and float it around. And then, you know, when I get in the heavy, I got the heavy rod with the 1.5 ounce. So you're looking at basically what we call a 1-2 punch. You can cover outside, you can fish this. The greatest thing about the cutter worm is that it's basically an ocho right here, you know, but here it has the rage tail. So it's got all that action. So this whole thing just goes. So you can throw it and let it just sink slow, fish it on the bottom, fish it real slow, pop it up, let it go. Or you can just swim it. So you can use it as a swimming worm, which is incredible, especially in Florida, but all over. So this is the mag cutter, and it is a main bait for me, really anywhere, but in the state of Florida, absolutely. I've traveled all the country and a lot of out of the country, and there's beautiful places to go and be, but I can tell you, I just love Florida. Blessed to be born and raised here. They take the Florida strain bass and they take it all over the country and the world, because that is the strain of bass that gets the biggest. And I live here. I love every minute of it, to know that any cast I make in literally any body of water in this state, I catch my personal best. I don't have to put up with ice and snow very often. You know, ice is for my iced tea, and that's about where it sits. So come on with it. I felt him thumping on the way down, and you got it. I can't help it. You gotta just love it. You know, I drop it in there and he goes, tick, and I go, oh yeah, you're fixing to get snatched out of that mat. Oh, heck, I might have to get pliers to get that one out. Every one of them just as fun as can be. You know, like I said, the anticipation of what you're doing, you know, because you know that any drop that you do down there has the potential to be 10, 11, 12, 13 pounds. 9, 8, 7, I mean, anything like that. So you're like, oh, I got it. Got you, buddy. I thought you'd be there. Every one of these islands has got them on it. Man, it's fun. Woo! Woo! I love it. Oh, another one. Oh, goodness. Woo! Come on, you big old pig. You wallow it on out there. That's what I like. Oh, back to back. Flips in the same place. Look at that. I just put a new Menace on and you've already torn it up. Man, I tell you, there's just nothing like flipping. It truly is so fun. And you get some quality fish. I mean, quality, just chunkos. Man, you just gotta love this. It has been such an honor in my career to have some of the best sponsors in the world, and one of them is Strike King Lew's. And Lew's is tremendous reels that have been and just dominated for so many years. And of course, Strike King, gosh, I've used Strike King when I was a kid. You know, I still have some of the original, you know, Strike King spinner baits and the pork frogs that they had, the bow hogs and bow rinds, and the Spence Scout was Strike King, because Charles Spence started Strike King, and the Spence Scout was an old wood bait with a little metal lip, and you could crawl that through. It's one of the greatest baits. So I've been using them my entire career. It's just awesome to be sponsored by it, to be part of the family of Strike King Lew's. It's just been a, great honor. Oh my gosh, hold on, this is big, baby. Oh no, they're gonna see it like that. Oh, come on. It's not like the one this morning, but a doggone good one. Oh, you thought you could get away, didn't you? Down in that hydrilla, you said, oh yeah. Oh, woo! Let's bring you on in here. I'm not even gonna boat flip you. I'm just gonna lip you. See, he doesn't know he's caught yet because he's got the grass over his face. But as soon as he breaks free of this stuff, that's a pig. That's what we call a big old pig. Big old pig. I love it. Man, and he had me in. I knew that, you know, when I set the hook, when you feel that much weight and buried up in the hydrilla, you go, that's a big old pig. That's gonna be a good one. So when I was younger, I'd go to our lakes, and Harris Chain was one of them that I remember, but I always liked setting the hook. I mean, I'm talking when I'm 15 and 16, it was like, how hard can you set a hook? And I can't tell you, a few times I've reeled down, I'm just, whack. And then I hit him so hard that I lost the rod out of my hands and it'd go overboard. I'd have to dive in after it. And I like setting the hook. Flipping when it came along, so that technique wasn't there when I was younger. And wow, it's, you know, as soon as we learned it and we started using it, it's just been fun, and you really get to power down on them because you're in such heavy stuff, you have to hit them hard. Oh my gosh. Yes. Goodness gracious. He thumped it so good on the way down, just boom, just rocked it. Come on, where are you gonna go? I love this. Flipping is like the best. So I pitch it in, the line sinks down, also it goes, and I'm like, oh, you just messed up, buddy. I'm gonna have some fun with you. Take this little trocar out of your face. Wow. I'm telling you, nothing better. There's two bites that you have flipping that you just, well, there's three. There's all kinds, but that are just special. One is when you pitch into the mat and the whole mat goes, and you go, because the mat just rose up and he eats your bait, you know, and it's so big and he's laying right underneath the surface. The other one's when you pitch it in, it's going to that, you know, that line just and goes. And the third one's when you don't feel anything and you start to pick up and it just pulls you down. That's like big time. Those bites are just like you go, oh, but any bite flipping is good. Any bite flipping is good. You know, I've been doing it 39 years or whatever, and I still love every minute of it. I get out and I get that bite, and I'm still that 15-year-old kid with, you know, with the first bass that you catch, and that's just it. I love fishing. I love every bit of fishing. I mean, I don't care what species it is. A lot of times I get home, I go redfish or snook or trout, or I go to the mountains and trout fish, or I go crappie fishing. I like it all. If it's got fins and a tail, I'm like catching it. I even sit out here, we saw a couple big old mudfish, bowfin, and I'm like, oh yeah, we gotta catch this. So, you know, having fish and having a bite, yeah, I still love every minute of it. It's awesome. It's a great sport. And this is what's really cool. It doesn't matter if you're a boy, a girl, you know, if you're 2 or 3 years old and you're catching your first fish, or if you're 92 or 93 years old, you still can go out there and go fishing and enjoy the greatest sport. It gets you out into nature. We get to see stuff that nobody else sees. You know, big gators doing stuff, and eagles and ospreys, and it's just, yeah, you're not in front of a computer screen, you're in real life.
Next time on Pro Team Journal.
Hey crappie anglers, Wally Marshall. Hey, it's a great day here in December, East Texas crappie fishing. It's about 50 degrees. Hey, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's been raining all morning long. We're gonna go out here and smash some crappies on the brand new Slab Daddy hair jigs, live hair jigs, also on the sausage spin marabous and sausage spins heads. This big old sludge. Look how thick that fish is, man. Hey mama, we bring it home. Get the grease hot. We're gonna try every technique. Even we're gonna cork them. We're gonna throw a jig with a cork on it, because the water temperature here in December is about 60 degrees. Lake temperature, unbelievable. It ought to be freezing or iced over. We're gonna catch crappie right here today in East Texas on the Pro Team Journal.